Kendo Podcast episode 100. In this episode, I want to show examples if you're an instructor by Yano sensei from his book, Messages from the Late Masters.
Kendo Podcast by Hiro Mafuji from kendoguide.com. Thank you for listening. This podcast is about Japanese martial arts Kendo for Kendo lovers and supported by Kendo enthusiasts through patreon.com. Thank you for your support, guys. Please visit kendoguide.com for more Kendo information and how to support kendoguide.com.
Welcome to Kendo Podcast episode 100. 100, wow, that is a big number. Every Monday, almost every Monday, I try to upload podcast and it has reached 100 episodes. Thank you very much for your support, and especially Patreons at patreon.com. Without your help, I couldn't reach this number, and I will keep doing until something big happens. And I am working for a Japanese company at the moment, just for 2 months, so I'm hoping I might not be able to upload episode every Monday, but I will try my best, okay? Well, I don't try. I will do my best. All right, in this episode, I'm still talking about the same article by Yano sensei from his book, the Messages from the Master. The Messages from the Late Masters. Now, so this chapter says instructors should show examples. Men strike is the core of Kendo, but if you're an instructor, you must have your students learn other techniques as well. So, probably you can guess what it's trying to say. For me, I was told that if you can strike men, you can strike any other strikes. So if you just make sure you can strike men properly, and you don't have, basically what it says, you don't have to learn any other techniques as long as you can strike men. Now, it is true. I still think it's true. And in his book, it says, "Mensai utereba yoshi." There's a tendency that people think only striking men, if you can strike men, that's good enough. That's, I think, a close interpretation of this. So I think it's a bit different from if you can strike men, you can strike you'll be able to strike other techniques. This one sentence, "Mensai utereba yoshi," it almost sounds like you strike men, that's good. You don't have to strike any other strikes. I don't agree with that either. But I think it's important to learn men strike. I think it's the basic strike. And as long as you can strike men, for example, men strike has 3 angles, right? Straight men and left men and right men. Okay? So it's angled strikes. So these are men strikes. So men, straight men, and variations are left men and right men. So as long as you can strike those strikes, you are able to execute those strikes, you should be able to strike any other strikes as well. Kote strike is lower than men, so you just shouldn't say just, but basic idea is you have to lower your sword, and that's kote. Now, do strike, have your hands above your head, and angle is probably wider than left man strike or right man strike. You have to go lower than men strike. So, of course, accordingly, you have to adjust the angle of the sword, angle of your arms. But basic movements are the same. So as long as you can strike men, okay, that includes as long as you can properly execute footworks as well. You can strike any other. You will be able to strike other techniques as well. Now, so I think there's a slight different nuance there, but he said, Yano sensei emphasized on learning kote strike, do strike, and tsuki as well. So that is very important. And then probably you have heard about striking do in promotion exams. Now I also tell he in his book says a lot of people say don't strike do in exams. I agree with it, unless you can strike do very good. Do strikes, when you strike do, if you're really good at do strike and you can get it perfectly, this comment is not for you. But when you strike do, a lot of people break their posture, and look down, and they bend their upper body, and it's like it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good means they are not striking properly, and then they cannot draw out their sword properly, and then just you fail to execute those strike properly. If you do that, I mean, you are telling all the judges that you cannot do it, right? So unless you can do it properly, you shouldn't be doing that, okay? So exam, that's very important for you to show what you can do and how much you understand, Kendo at this level, right? At that level. So if you don't know how to strike do, for example, if you can, pull your opponent to strike do, like, come on, strike my man, attract your opponent to strike man, to strike your man, and then you set up all the situation for your opponent to strike your man, and then if your opponent comes into the trap and then strike perfect do, you'll pass. There's nothing wrong with your do. But if you cannot do it, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't do things you can't do properly. Okay, that is the main point. Striking do is okay in the exam. Not being able to execute techniques properly is not good. All right, so that's two different things. So please remember that. Okay, now, how can you learn? How can you polish up your techniques? That's a very good question. Usually, I was told to polish up my techniques when I do Kendo with lower grade holders. So, for example, I do Keiko with, let's say, elementary school Kendoists, little kids. Now they strike with a lot of energy, okay? And of course, I'm motodachi. If you're motodachi, you don't overpower them. It's easy to overpower lower grade holders. It doesn't matter if they are elementary school kids or if they are as long as they are lower than you, you shouldn't overpower them. Unless they are, they want you to do. Sometimes they want you to overpower them. But what I mean is, some people they don't care how physically weak they are than you. They just crush them. That's not good. You just you crush them then, right? And then probably they'll quit Kendo because you don't want to be treated like that. You should, if you're an instructor, you should make them feel good about their Kendo, and also you should study or polish up your Kendo as well, your skills. So it's a win-win situation, okay? So let them strike properly with good distance. So you have to show good example, good kendo. You have to have good kamae and let them strike. And then you can execute perfect men suriagamen, for example, on them because they strike properly and with a lot of energy, okay, without hesitation. They do that. So let them do it. And then you strike men kaishido, for example, and then you study men kaishido. So that is the real learning opportunity there. A lot of people don't use jigeiko like that. They think, letting them just strike, just letting them strike men kote do isn't good enough. You have to adjust distance. You have to control their maai, their distance, their timing, everything. And then sometimes you have to, without asking them, you are going to, study some skills using them. Okay, men kaishido, men suriyage, men kote suriyage, kote, whatever you want to do. Okay, so when they even with elementary school student, okay, if they're just little kids striking you, when they are just about to execute a strike, you go pow like that, okay, and they think, "Wow, that was a good man strike I just got." They might, they even think that. So you have to learn when to strike as well. You have to, and then they're gonna learn. Oh, that's the timing I should be executing men, debana men, for example. Okay, so please, when you do jigeiko with lower grade holders, don't just play around. Alex Bennett sensei once told me that you look like you're fooling around with them. Well, probably I look like it. But I'm kind of studying it as well, studying my kendo as well. So, I like having fun as well as studying and letting them strike me. So, just have a fun, okay? Have a fun in a sense that you study and they study. They both feel good. You feel good, they feel good, right? That's having a fun. That's what I mean by having fun. Okay, so that is very important. You do good kendo, they will copy your kendo. So their kendo will be good. Without telling them, do good kendo, because you are showing good kendo. All right, so make sure. And then he said, apparently there's a soccer coach said this. When we stop learning, we should stop teaching. That's someone said that. It doesn't say who. So we always have to be a learner. When we stop learning, we can't teach. Of course, we can't teach when we stop. But students are learning. They learn a lot from you, and if you don't learn, there's nothing to teach anymore. So really important for us, if you're an instructor or if you're higher grade holders, we shouldn't stop learning. Okay, so Yano sensei's sensei or not sensei always go everywhere with the bogu. Yano sensei followed him everywhere as well. So they studied, they trained kendo all the time. I think that's great. I mean, I think this section wasn't very long, probably a page long, but this, how to learn how to polish up your kendo with lower grade holders, and you should be learning all kinds of techniques is very important point for us to remember. All right. Thank you for listening. My 100th episode of Kendo podcast. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast.